Okay, so hello everybody and welcome to the Medication Administration Training class. Um, I'll tell you a little bit about what you're getting into right quick. This is a 32-hour class. It's good for the Department of Behavioral Health Services. And I tell everyone this when they take this class. This certificate is good anywhere in Virginia. So it's not just good for Fairview, it's not just good for BLR, it's good for anywhere in Virginia through the Department of Behavioral Health Services. It does not cover assisted living facilities and nursing homes. So it benefits you to take this class in a lot of ways. A little backstory of why it's not that good is why it's not good in nursing home and assisted livings is the two classes were separated in Congress a long time ago because medication aids were a little bit more laid back and they weren't taking medication administration as serious in nursing homes. So they were killing a bunch of people. And the lobbyists went into government officials and they said nursing home needs better trained people. Nursing homes need better trained people. So they made it to where they would have a 68-hour class, but they happened to leave off Department of Behavioral Health Services like jails, inpatient residential facilities, group homes, and things like that. So that's why there's a divide between two classes, between the 68-hour and the 32-hour class. So we usually start off with some introductions, which I think we pretty well know each other. So you have a packet I gave you. So in that packet, you can start opening it up or flipping it backwards. They are front and back. And it goes along with this presentation. First few pages are some reference sites. So we have task records in here. We don't usually utilize those a whole lot in this class. It would be more like you get more on-the-job training here. So the task records are more going out there and doing the physical part of the class. Now we will have examinations or some tests that we'll go over together. This class will also prepare you to function as a medication aid. There'll have to be lots of facts you'll learn about medications and definitions and things of that nature. And then we'll be evaluated through tests. Now this whole course will go over five duty areas. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot of information in just 5 areas. The first area is just preparing you to function effectively as a medication aid. The second one is maintaining aseptic conditions. Now, I don't know if everybody knows what aseptic means, but that means clean conditions. So I encourage glove wearing and frequent hand washing and things of that nature, which we'll go over all that. The third area is facilitating clients or residents self-administration or assisting with medication administration. And then duty area 4 will be assisting the client or resident with self-administration of prepared installations and treatments, which is like their eye drops and things of that nature. And then duty area 5 will be diving into the world of diabetes. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but there's a lot of information. So before we get started, there'll be 3 most important things for you all to remember. And these are called the 5 rights. And you will hear these over and over again. It's the right resident, the right drug, right dose, the right route at the right time. And that is something you will check every time you go to give somebody a medication. And it's really important just to think that through really fast. Is this the right person, the right medicine I'm giving it to? And is this the right time? Am I giving them a bedtime med at lunch? And the right route. Is this supposed to be something they dissolve under their tongue, or a shot, or just a medication they take? So, and then when in doubt, if you think there's a doubt on something, don't do it. You would call the nurse that's supervising, such as myself, or another nurse that's on duty that would be supervising. If you have a doubt about it and you think this doesn't seem right or don't read right, don't do it. And then the third thing, and you would think this would be a little more self-explanatory, but it causes a lot of med errors when people don't read. And we've gotten to accustomed in our generation, I guess, of not reading paper, of everything's technical and on the phones. But read the labels, read the labels, read the Mars. So I think it says on here, read the label like 6 times. So a very important guy I know, he says 6 before it sticks. So, and then there's the 5 rights of medication again: right resident, right drug, right dose, the right route, and the right time. So we're going to start on duty area 1. And so when we're giving out medications, residents have rights of medication administrations, treatment decisions, and confidentiality. I don't know how involved you guys are with some of the intake paperwork that we do here, but there is a list of rights that they get in their handbooks, and they also get it on a digital copy that they sign through their electronic health record. So residents have rights to how they get their medication administered, treatment decisions, and confidentiality. So rights and medication management that they have is privacy. That's why we take them back inside that room there, or back to the door of the medication administration area. It gives them privacy. Confidentiality. We're not running around, we're not telling everybody who's on Suboxone or who's on a different type of medication. They have the right to participate in their care. So that would mean, like, let's say one of you guys were getting medicines here and you said, oh, it's not really working for me to take this in the morning, and it's once a day, you know, can I take it at night? So they have that right to question it and kind of participate in their care. As long as it doesn't interfere and their doctor's okay with it, then that's perfectly fine. They also have a right to refuse treatment. So that means that just because they have a medication prescribed to them, and just because, even if it's a mental health med and we know that it's not good for them not to take it, they still have that right to refuse it. They don't have to take it. On the double-edged sword of that, it's not good if they don't take it, and it could severely affect their mental health. So you'd want to let their clinician know and their treatment teams know about that. So, and then they have the right to choose a caregiver. That is more like choosing treatment. They can choose which doctor they go to, or they can even say, well, this person was really mean to me when I got my medications last night. Do you mind giving me my medications? They have that right to choose a caregiver. Now, that's not saying that we can always accommodate to that, but they do have that right. And they have a right to move around freely. So if you are working at another behavioral health center, we don't hardly have a lot of people like in wheelchairs here or anything, but you can't lock somebody's wheelchair wheels and make them sit at the nurse's station because they're misbehaving. They have that right to move around freely. So, and always remember, it's you that's responsible. When you count off and you're taking that responsibility of handing out the meds, you're also taking out the responsibility of upholding the rights of the resident and the rights of medication administration. And you're responsible for assisting with medication administration in accordance with this curriculum. Okay, so do you think any of you guys could tell me back the 5 rights of a resident? Not the 5 rights of medication administration, but the 5 rights of a resident.
Really,
Move around freely is one. Anybody want to help them out?
the 5 rights,
Yep,
like right.
that's the right, that's the 5 rights of medication administration. These are the 5 client rights. Right to refuse, privacy, and one more.
The right to have their medicine they took at home.
That's the right to participate in treatment. The 5th one is confidentiality. So I'm gonna read off a small case study to you here, and you guys think about those 5 rights, okay? So a young woman visits her elderly aunt who is a resident in a residential facility. While her aunt is out of the room, the niece asks a medication aide for a list of all medications currently being taken or used by her aunt. Without hesitation, the medication aide just writes out a list of the medication and provides it to the niece. The medication aide receives praise from the niece for her quick response to the request, and the medication aide feels good about helping the resident and her family member. Was this situation handled properly?
No.
No. Then how should it have been handled? Can I ask the patient, get a release of information? That one is basically wanting you to remember that they have that right to confidentiality. They have that right of HIPAA. And even though that the niece asks for it, she just can't give it out like that. So can a responsible client refuse to allow a family member to have access to his or her medical records? They can. So the slideshow and the books kind of go hand in hand. We're still on task 1.1, which should be at the top of your book. If you're a resident of an assisted living facility or residential facility, Virginia law assures you of certain rights, which are listed below. So when you're admitted during your stay, you must be informed of your rights and responsibility as a resident of an assisted living facility or residential facility at the time of admission. And it should have an agreement, including rules of conduct. And if there's any changes that are later made in the agreement, you must be informed of these changes if you're a resident. The facility must inform the resident of the services available in the facility and how much they cost. So if I know we offer the GED service here for our clients. We don't charge them anything for it, but if we did, we would be responsible for putting that out in writing and say, we have this extra service. And unless the court has appointed a guardian, you have the right to manage your own finances and be given an accounting of transactions made by you or by the facility. So that's like if you ran a facility that does manage some of your finances, like some of these assisted livings and stuff. So you have the right to privacy in your personal affairs and records. You must give permission before people outside the facility can see your records, except when you move to another facility or if they're requested by another facility. So we can call as a facility and request records on John Doe from a different hospital, and that's okay. They still have to get a release most of the time, but it's okay for us to request that. And this kind of goes for an assisted living facility. It says if you're asked to leave the facility, you have the right to know at least 14 days in advance, except for an emergency, why you must move and where you're going. And the facility, an assisted living facility or a group home would help facilitate the plans to move. And if you become sick, you have the right to take part in your care. You also have the right to refuse medical treatment, which we had said before. And you do not have to work in a facility unless you want to and have a written agreement with the facility stating how you will be paid. So I can kind of come up with a little bit of an example on that. I worked at a facility before, and we used to say, in order to watch TV, you have to clean the dining room and have your rooms cleaned and the hall swept and the windows cleaned. Well, then, a human rights person came and said, hey, you can't do that. You can't restrict something from somebody for work. If you want them to work, you have to pay them, pay the clients that are in there. So we had to do away with that and just let them watch TV, and then the staff picked up the extra chores. But it actually was a human rights violation, which we didn't know at the time, but you have the right to refuse to participate in any research or experimentation. And some facilities do sign up to have research or an experiment done, like with a drug company or something. They will sign up to do that, and they have to inform the residents that that's what's happened. And you have the right to be free of any kind of abuse, threats, or exploitation. Your basic needs for care and services cannot be ignored or neglected once a facility knows about them. Okay, you have the right to keep your own clothes and personal items as long as there is enough room. You're encouraged to exercise your rights and responsibility as a resident and as a citizen. And you have the right to be treated by others with courtesy, consideration, and respect as a person of worth and dignity and sensitivity. You have the right to be encouraged to function at your highest level. And you have the right to move around freely and not be held or restrained unless your behavior becomes unmanageable in an emergency situation. That is where TOVA training comes in. They have the right to move around freely, but if it becomes a dangerous situation, you initiate TOVA training. You have the right to take only medicine that has been prescribed to you by your doctor. And you have the right to privacy. And you have the right to decide whether or not you go to parties, religious services, or other activities outside the facility unless your doctor recommends against it.
Quick point of reference in the intake, we recommend that the residents don't have more than $50 in their own possession, because we're afraid that somebody might steal it.
Yeah.
And so we don't manage their finances, but we do help them.
I think it's,